How to quickly understand that you're dealing with a manipulative woman. It's very simple. She always has an excuse for her bad behavior. No matter what nasty thing she says or does to you, she will find a justification. For example, if she raises her voice, it means you deserved it. If she insults you, it's also your fault, and if she acts irrationally, it's because you provoked her. Even if she bites you and spits in your face, she will say you drove her to that point. It's important to remember that no one has the right to insult or degrade us, even if we make mistakes. My mistake does not justify rude behavior or raising one's voice. If I'm bad and you're better, show it through your actions. For example, if I behave poorly and she calmly and angelically explains that the situation worries her but she doesn't want to argue, she might say she will stay with her mom for a few days, but if I want to talk, she will respond right away. After such a response, no normal man would want to argue. However, instead, we often see a hysterical woman pointing out our mistakes. The most dangerous sign is when a woman constantly brings up your past. If she says she helped you 2 years ago, it means she is doing nothing for you now. If she was doing something now, why bring up the past? In healthy relationships, we don't live on the merits of the past. The same goes for if she mentions how you hurt her a year ago. This means you're acting almost perfectly now, and the only way to find flaws is to dig into the past, even making things up. I know many stories where a man does everything for a woman, and in a conflict, she brings up the past. This is a situation where we cannot change the past, and blaming it is a dead end. It's important to realize that references to the past are attempts to manipulate. You cannot justify bad behavior today with past merits or mistakes. Refusing to engage in a fair exchange of energy today destroys relationships. Often, a manipulative woman starts creating a foundation of being right at the beginning of the relationship, putting in time and energy not to make her partner happy but to make him feel indebted. If you knew how many times this help would be brought up during the relationship, you would probably do everything yourself. A woman starts keeping a hate notebook, recording events to bring them up later. When the critical mass accumulates, she goes on the attack. She provokes you, worsens the situation, and when you try to defend yourself, she escalates her emotions to the maximum, for example, by crying or insulting you. And then, when everything is already tense, she brings up old offenses that were never discussed at the time, and now they weigh on you as reasons for her suffering. This is classic manipulation. If a man made a mistake but never repeated it, and the woman continues the relationship, she has no right to constantly bring it up. In religious teachings, particularly in Christianity, being resentful is considered a sin. And when she says she can't forgive you for something, it's an attempt to manipulate you through her bitterness. Often, when a conflict arises with a girlfriend, a man feels the need to remind her of all his efforts. I do this for you, and this, and this. Look at how much time, energy, and effort I've put in. He wants her to see all that he does for her. But the woman's response usually sounds like this: are you trying to manipulate me? I don't need anything from you. And the man tries to justify himself, saying that he doesn't mind doing all of this, but he wants to see some kind of response. Can't you just show some respect? He asks. It's very similar to a situation where a man works hard, and when he asks about lunch or salary, he's told, do you want to pressure the employer? Why is respect demanded from a man, but he can't demand the same in return? Relationships between men and women are often built on double standards. For example, it's acceptable for a woman to get offended, but not for a man. We live in a society where people who get offended often receive attention, reassurance, and even affection. People develop this behavior because they often see that being offended gives them an advantage. But in relationships, this can become unbearable. A woman can appear as the victim, even if she is actually tormenting the man, and he can't argue because, in conflicts, it's often not about the facts but about the ability to manipulate emotions. This is not a search for the truth, but a battle where the one who wins is not the one who's right but the one who knows how to manipulate the situation. If both partners are not ready to acknowledge their mistakes, the relationship cannot be healthy. If people are open to change and self-criticism, they can improve their relationship. When a person is able to acknowledge their flaws and work on them, it can make them more attractive to their partner. But when we get used to this behavior, we stop realizing what is happening to us. If there are no children in the relationship, it becomes even harder because there is nothing to hold the relationship together. But when a woman has a particular character, a man often tries to find an explanation for her behavior. She loves me, everything will be fine. However, if she systematically insults him, the man may ignore these issues, not realizing that, in reality, his attitude toward himself and his partner has worsened. Good relationships are based on demands made on oneself, not on the partner. And if one of the partners is selfish and unwilling to change, the relationship can become very toxic. To change the situation, a person needs to reconsider their attitude toward life, and that can be a very difficult process.